Okay, today we're back on the Minneapolis Moline 445. I took the throttle lever apart because I couldn't get the nut piece out of this so that you could adjust it or make any improvement on it. So I finally got fed up enough with it. I just put a couple of cuts in it. And it goes in here. You can maybe hopefully see there's a little weld here. That's not original. I'm pretty sure this is a dealer update because you're supposed to it's something to do with this. When the original cone plastic or whatever cone wore out and whatnot, I'm sure this set screw that goes all the way from here to here would give trouble, because I'm sure it was a few years and sitting outside, a lot of them. So instead of putting in a new cone, they put in a different bushing with this. Come here. Okay, here we go. With this nut piece that screws in there like that. And then there's also a spring that goes in there, along with what I believe was maybe a lead crush cone thing that you were supposed to be able to tighten all this up with. Well, it's not in good shape anymore, and I wasn't sure what to do. I know it's not factory original, but it's probably near impossible to get a factory original. I think this might be a piece out of a newer 4-star M5, something like that. An update, so it was easier to keep things tight. Well, everything was too tight, or well, too loose. You couldn't tighten nothing up anymore. So here's the throttle rod, and there's the cotter pin that's all growed together in there, so I'll have to try and drill that out. And then down here there's a roll pin that was all growed together, and I got part of it drilled out. There we go. Focus. Part of it is drilled out. So there, balance. Because this piece of steel, flat iron, goes on the bottom. That connects to the rod that goes up to the governor. And then this washer and this spring are supposed to hold everything kind of down and in there. Japers. Framing. Sometimes it's tough to know just where to hold the camera and talk and point and everything all at the same time. But I got this apart. Hopefully I can maybe find either make or find something that I can replace that with. If if it's a regular dealer update, then hopefully maybe I can salvage the piece out of like a 4-star, an M5, or if I'm lucky enough to find this whole piece, a better one, because the steering, whoops, down she goes. The steering is all wore out too. That's gonna need new bushing. I don't believe there is a bushing in there to start with. There's a grease zerk, but we'll have to tear that apart and check it out, along with many other things. So that was kind of a pain in the butt to get apart, but I got it. I'm in my little shop here, and it's close to the wall with lots of stuff along the wall, so it's hard to get far enough back to get a good view. But so there's that. I tried a paint that was suggested to be possibly a good, real close to Prairie Gold #2. I don't think it's very close at all. It almost looks more like Prairie Gold 1, I would think, than Prairie Gold 2. But I need to get a quart from Clint Stam and of actual Prairie Gold #2 and Prairie Gold #3 and see which one matches the paint that's still on here. There's a couple different colors there, but down on the transmission it looks like more original paint, and it's much darker yellow, I think anyways, than what this is. But I'll have to get some of the correct paint. Some of the paint that's underneath, some of the grease seems to be of a different color a little bit. Let's see if there's some paint left under the steps here. Yeah, you could kind of see some of the paint there. It's that should be not very faded, but it's much darker than this. You know, and I'm sure some of it is faded real good, but it's I don't know. I tried, there was some different paint that I got, I think at O'Reilly's, that I tried there. But that's almost about the same as what's on here. Maybe a hair darker, but not by much. So there's a little bit of good paint with a lot of grease. But that's one thing that's down the road anyways, trying to get paint on anything. But I'll bring you back in a second here with another project. Okay, this is my brake project, and this is the well, it's the brake backing plate, the brake pad or brake disc. These are disc brakes. Rides against here, and I pulled this out because I wanted to put in new seals. Here is, I hope you can read that. There is the number for the original seal. It's 10A7038. It's an actual leather I'm pretty sure it's an actual leather lip seal, but it's pretty well shot. Let's see, I hope you can see that. I'm going to put in, maybe you can see it better on the box. I'm going to put in this CR28686 that Squatch 253 used on his on X250, on X231, his prototype Minneapolis Moline 445. It looks like it should be a pretty good match. So I'm going to take and see if we can't press that one in there. I got 2 seals. Let's see. Well, let's make sure we're putting this in correctly. Yeah, we got to go that way. The lip should go towards the oil. There. Yeah. We'll see if we can drive this in there without too much trouble. There. Of course, it's a little crooked. It'd go a lot nicer if I had an arbor press, but we're getting it here. And I'm fairly certain we're not damaging the seal any. And yes, I know I'm using a plenty big hammer here. So we're not all the way in there yet. So let's check our progress. We're there on part of it. So there. Okay, that looks like it's driven on there decently. I was kind of half hoping maybe with these being a little bit thinner that I'd be able to use 2, but that's not going to work. But we'll just have to mark this one, the extra one, as brake pinion seal for the 445. I'm going to save the original bearing just so I have a good well, maybe not necessarily good example, but a decent example. If ever this seal were to go where you can't get it anymore. So there's that. And we'll put that off to the side for right now. And then we'll put the brakes back together here. I got them cleaned up decently. And I got new discs. This is just to show what they look like. This is what they look like. Got splines on the inside and brake material on the outside. These ones are all oil soaked and rusty and kind of wore out. And this one's separated. So then everything was kind of sticky and half stuck. So that wasn't helping anything in trying to get any of this done or working. I don't know, when I first got the tractor you could stab the brakes and it didn't seem like it did a darn thing. So in anticipation I got new balls which are available. I got these ones from Steiner's. I've seen them on eBay, the electronic bay and everything else. There's part number ABC 1225. So we'll put all new balls in this one, and then I think in the other one we're gonna go with the best of what I still have. They just plop in there. Like so. One, two, three, four. And then this one goes on top. And then these, let's see. Nope. Let's line these up here. That's not right. Let's try it this way. There. Okay, here we go. There, that'll all go together like so, along with this pin and this clevis. There's the proper use for a drill bit end. Ha ha ha. Okay, so there's everything's put together. I don't know, some people like to use a little bit of grease. Some people say put it all together dry. But when you pull on your well, when you push on your brake pedal, it's supposed to pull this clevis, and everything rotates against each other, and the balls are supposed to go up the ramps, and it all tightens up and goes together. And should work fine and dandy. So that's how that all works. There's 2 springs. This is what they look like. I think these ones look okay. They seem to have decent stiffness still, so well, let me get a couple tools and we'll try to put those on. So I'll bring you back in a second here. Okay, so we'll take one spring and we'll hook it on to the bottom and then we'll hook it on to the top. That wasn't too bad. They might be a little stretched, but let's see, and we'll take and hook that one. On the bottom. There. Now, just for funds, I'm going to see if I can tighten this up just a hair. That's probably the wrong tool for what I'm thinking about trying to do here. So, where is the channel locks? Let's see here. Hold on a second here. Hunting for tools. Okay, I guess I don't have a channel lock here, but I'm just going to see if I can get these there. I don't know if I'm doing any good or not, but just make sure that they're gonna hold in there. If they were bent at all from when I took them out. Maybe even just give it a whack with the hammer. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for you. Loud noises. Hold on. Okay, so there, now we go like that, and it still works. And the springs kind of hold everything together there. So there's that part done. Now I gotta do a little more cleanup, I think, before I don't know what. let's see. Yeah, I gotta do a little more cleanup. These bushings, the bolts that hold everything together, go through here. There's, let's see, I think one there, and something like that. They help hold everything together. These ones are too dirty to put back in, so I haven't cleaned those up yet, but one other thing to show. It's just okay. This is one of the bolts. It was stuck in this one. That's because I cleaned some of this up at work. So this is the left side brake. So this has the speedometer drive, which I wanted to get out of here, so I did. Because if it's gonna work, I want everything to be free. It's got this probably a phenolic gear that goes on the end, but everything was so stuck and miserable that we'll have to find different stuff to go in there. If I remember correctly, this gear is available new. And I'll have to find a different drive from somewheres. This is the drive gear that goes, it plugs into the end of the bowl pinion shaft and seals it up. There's an O-ring that goes on there. I found a new one that should be about the right size. It's an AGCO number. So if you need a new O-ring, that one should work for you. It's I got that at the local dealer that originally started out as Massey, Oliver, and Moline, and then transitioned into White and Massey like everything else. But there's 3. I'll go into it in more detail when we put everything together, but there's 3 little pins that go in there, like so. And then this bolt with tapered end. I'm pretty sure you can see that. Always tough to video and talk at the same time. At least for me anyways. So this goes into the end of here, and then with the tapered end, it pushes out on these little pins, and that's what holds this in the end of the bowl pinion shaft there. There's a jam nut that goes in it, so you can make sure that it stays put after you get it put together. So that was a son of a gun to get out. And this is pretty not great. I had to do a little work on the teeth of the gear here, because it was stuck in there really good, considering that usually it's mainly just the O-ring holding this together, because a lot of times the pins fall out and guys don't realize that they had the pins to begin with, so they put it together not realizing that the pins aren't there. And so this ends up riding in the end of here, like so. Drives your speedometer shaft or speedometer drive gear, and comes out and goes up to the speedometer if you still have a working one. So there's that. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. There's some other stuff here for other projects on the tractor. The 3-point hydraulic unit is sitting right here. So there will be that to rebuild because the selective control valves were all stuck in there, and it needs a everything really needs a reseal. And I'll need a new side cap, or whatever you want to call it, that goes with the 3-point here. The shaft goes through, and then on the outside is your 3-point arm, and this was broken when I took it apart. It may have been cracked when I took it off, and I might have finished it off, but if it was already cracked, well, it was not long for this world anyways. I still have the piece, so if worse comes to worse, I can maybe try and weld it together, because it's probably cast steel and not cast iron. But I'll have to, if we get to that point, I'll have to do a spark test and see what's what. I'll have to do some more work. These are some little bearings that go on the adjustable on the adjustable lift arm for a 3-point, and I don't believe these are available. We'll have to check it out, but these are pretty well maybe done. I don't know. I might have to take these home again and just soak them in some vinegar or something, see if they'll free up. But nothing moves anyways, so there's all kinds of things to do. So if I get to where I'm starting to put the brakes, or at least the brake pinion seal on the tractor, I'll have to bring you back. Otherwise, if this is the end, well, thank you for watching, and I hope you found it useful.